It's for today's presentations on grade 11 Precalculus Quarter 1, Week 3, last one about definitions and equations of an ellipse. Ito yung ating graph ng ellipse in a rectangular coordinate system. Ang kanyang figure is a bounded curve which looks like a flattened circle. So, meron din tayong pictures of the graph of the ellipse. Yan ang center, foci, vertices, and covertices. Learning outcomes at the end of this video lesson that you might be able to define an ellipse. Number 2, determine the standard form of equations of an ellipse. So let us define first what is an ellipse. So we have here let f of 1 and f of 2 be two distinct points. So ito yung ating f of 1 is in the negative x-axis, negative z and 0, the coordinates. And the f of 2 is c and 0. It is along the positive x-axis. Then sa ating Cartesian plane, marami tayong points na makita dito. So let us consider the P, B, A. Then ang kanilang distances from the f of 1 and f of 2. So let us consider the P. The distance of P from f of 1, that would be P f of 1. And the distance of P from f of 2, yan din ang P f of 2. Then we're going to add the sum of these two distances, P f of 1 plus P f of 2, that would be certain constant which is the 2a. Yan ay tinatawag na ellipse, such that for any point sa ating ellipse, the sum of its distances from the foci is equal to 2a. Same with the point A here, the distance of A from f of 1 and distance of A from f of 2 is certain constant, that would be 2a. And the points f of 1 and f of 2, tinatawag itong foci. Since that is a plural form of the focus, f of 1 and f of 2. After derivation, ito na yung ating standard form of equation of an ellipse. X squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared is equal to 1. Here's the pictures of the graph of an ellipse with the standard equations. So ito yung ating standard equations of an ellipse where a, the value of a is greater than b. So the other component here is c is equal to square root of a squared minus b squared. Ito yung part ng ating ellipse with the standard equations. The center is the origin, that would be the coordinate 0, 0. And the other part is the foci, denoted as f of 1, then the coordinates negative c and 0. And the f of 2, the coordinate is c and 0. Then ang sukat ng f of 1 from the center, that would be a c value, or the c units away from the center, and the f of 2 from the center is also c. For any point on the ellipse, so let us consider here the a, ang kanyang distance from the f of 1 and f of 2. So the distance of a from f of 1 is a f of 1, and the distance of a from f of 2, that would be a f of 2. Kung i-sum up natin itong dalawa, so a f of 1 plus a f of 2 is equal to a certain constant, that would be the 2a. We have another point on the ellipse. Yan tinatawag na B1 or the vertex 1. Ang kanyang coordinates is negative a and 0. So we have also the vertex 2 or V sub 2. The coordinates is a and 0. And the vertex sub 1 and vertex sub 2 collinear with the center and foci. Isang direction lamang ang ating foci, vertex, and center. And same with the other vertex sub 2. Ang bawat vertex natin is a units away from the center. For our B1, ang sukat ni from the center to the point on B1 or the vertex 1 is A value. Okay, same with the vertex sub 2. Ang sukat nito is A. And this segment, B sub 1 and B sub 2, ito tinatawag na major axis. Ang sukat nito is 2A. And it divides the ellipse into two congruent parts, the upper part and the lower part. So, yung ating vertices, B sub 1 and B sub 2. We have another point on the ellipse. Tinatawag itong covertices, denoted as W sub 1. The coordinate is 0 and negative B. And we have also here the W sub 2 and 0 and B. Since the covertices at the y-axis, ang sukat nito from the center to this point, W sub 1 is the value of B. And above the center, that would be the W sub 2. And this segment is perpendicular to the major axis. Tinatawag itong minor axis. And the segment is W sub 1 and W sub 2. Ang sukat nito is 2B. Since ang E natin is greater than B, the major axis is longer than the minor axis. Example number 1, I'll give the coordinates of the foci, vertices, and covertices of the ellipse with the equations x squared over 25 plus y squared over 9 is equal to 1, and sketch the graph and include these points. Ito yung ating template for the equations of an ellipse to find the component of A. A squared is equal to 25 and our B squared is equal to 9. Since ang vertices natin, the component is A and covertices is B and the foci is C, para makabuo tayo ng coordinates. To find the A, squaring both sides, then cancel exponent, then A, the square root of 25 is 5. Yan ang ating component ng mga vertices. And B squared, square root of 9 is B is equal to 3 for the covertices. Since ang A natin is greater than B, so we let C is equal to square root of A squared minus B squared. So the C is equal to, substitute the value of A squared is 25 minus our B squared is equal to 9. Then C is equal to 25 minus 9 is 16. Then C is equal to square root of 16 is 4. Yan ang ating foci. The coordinates for the foci, the F1 and F2, since the value of C is negative 4, then positive C is 4 and 0. And for the vertices, the B sub 1 and B sub 2, and B sub 1 natin, negative A, it becomes negative 5, and the value of B sub 2 is 5 and 0. And for the covertices, the W sub 1 and 0, negative B, so W sub 1 with 0 and negative 3, since the value of B is 3. To graph, to include this point, okay, sketch natin ang graph ng given ng graph natin. X squared is equal to 25 plus y squared over 9 is equal to 1. So the foci here, the f of 1 is negative 4. Yan ang ating f of 1. Ang f of 2 is positive 4. Then we have also the vertices, the b sub 1, negative 5. And b sub 2 along the positive x-axis. And for our covertices, w sub 1, 0 and negative 3, and W sub 2 is 0 and 3. Connect all the points, covertices, vertices, and this is the graph of the equations. Example number 2, find the standard equations of the ellipse whose foci are f of 1, negative 3 and 0, and f of 2, 3 and 0, such that for any point on it, the sum of its distances from the foci is 10. So, we have A and B, the unknown values, and C natin given here, the foci, C. Then from this statement, the sum of distances from the foci is 10. So, we can find the value of A since ang 10 natin dito is equivalently to tau A. Then, tau A is equal to 10. To find the A, divide both sides by 2. Then, bring down A. Then, 10 divided 2 is 5. Then, we can use this template to find the A squared. Yan. Then let's see is equal to square root of A squared minus B squared. Then to find A squared, then squaring both sides, then A squared, then 5 times 5 is 25. And for our C is equal to 3 since given sa ating foci F1 and F2. Then squaring of both sides, the value of C squared is equal to 9. Then squaring din natin tong C template natin both sides. So we have the C squared is equal to A squared minus B squared. Transpose natin negative from negative B squared magiging positive. B squared is equal to, transpose din natin yung C squared sa kabilang side, magiging negative C squared. Then bring down the A squared. Ito na yung template natin for the B squared. So we have the B squared. Ang A squared natin is 25 minus the C squared is 9. Then B squared is equal to 16. Then we are going to find the standard equations of the ellipse. So we have here the x squared over the A squared, that is 25, plus y squared. B squared natin is 16. Is equal to 1. Ang ating last number 1 for this week 3 or quarter 1. So we have here the problem set for A and B.